there's only one way that Donald Trump can win presidential election in November and defeat Hillary Clinton. Well, actually, he can't defeat Hillary Clinton. Let me put it this way. There's only one way that Donald Trump can become president, and that is if he's unopposed. And the only way that Donald Trump was going to be unopposed is if Hillary Clinton suffers some sort of massive stroke or heart attack or just flat out drops dead. That's the only way that Donald Trump could ever become president of the United States. That's the reality. And as I've talked about on my podcast, Hard Starboard Radio, and in the past on American Daily Review and Constitution Radio, and in Pixels at politicalpistachio.com, there is much reason to suspect that Hillary Clinton, her health is far worse than we think. We've heard about it before. Fainting spells, coughing jags. There's been questions about her health going back as long as 10 years. And then she slipped and hit her head at the end of 2012. And she reportedly had a blood clot. So I mean, and I've written about and talked about the stories back in the Democrat primaries about how after each campaign appearance she was pretty much almost carried out to her limousine or whatever, her transportation. Just consistently, through recent times, she has to be helped upstairs because she apparently she's either running the risk of losing her balance and falling back down the stairs and seriously hurting herself, or she just can't get up them. I mean, Mrs. Clinton, Hillary Rodham Clinton, is not a healthy woman. And she's not even 70 years old. I mean, you've all heard me talk about my dad. My dad's bedridden. He's in an adult family home, but he's 83. Mrs. Clinton is only 69. In fact, not even 69. Her 69th birthday is coming up later this year. She's not a healthy woman. And, one wonders, I mean, is she willing to die to become president? Because, that's the risk she's running if her health is as bad as it's thought that it is. Well, if you strip away, as Brandon Morse observes at Red State, this was last Saturday, if you strip away all the pomp and circumstance surrounding Hillary Clinton's campaign, you'd see an awkward woman who engages in very bizarre behavior and does as much as possible, Nixon-like, to make sure she stays in a very controlled and safe environment. In all honesty, if it wasn't for her last name of friendly media and her already well-established public presence, Mrs. Clinton wouldn't really be waging a very good campaign. Now, many could chalk Mrs. Clinton's lack of interaction with pre-cleared media up to the fact that she's trying to cover up that she has a lot to hide. Also, because, as I've talked about before, long time now, the more visible she is in the public eye, the more unpopular she gets. I mean, she needs to run what Benjamin Harrison in 1888 called a front porch campaign, where she's as invisible as she can possibly be. Don't make a lot of public appearances. Don't plaster your face all over everything. Just hide behind TV ads. I mean, I've long said Hillary Clinton's going to run the most dirty, despicable, disgustingly negative, carpet-bombing, nuclear-scorched earth campaign in American political history, or certainly modern American political history. And now she's got Donald Trump running interference for her so she can actually get away with it. But some actions by Mrs. Clinton lately have begun to raise questions about it being none of those things. What am I talking about? Well, many could chalk Mrs. Clinton's lack of interaction with pre-cleared media up to the fact that she's trying to cover up that she has a lot to hide. Some could say that she's playing a smart campaign by not really saying much and letting her opponent destroy his own chances at winning. And both of those are true, in addition to what I just shared with you mere moments ago about her front porch campaign. But between Hillary's repeated coughing fits, incredibly low energy, and very odd reactions that seem more like she's overacting worse than Jim Carrey, people have begun to question both Hillary's physical and mental health. Some speculate that these odd behaviors stem from Hillary's concussion suffered in 2012, as we discussed earlier, after having another one of her fainting spells. Since then, there have been signs that she hasn't been quite right. One solid example is her sudden seizure when reporters asked her questions simultaneously. Mrs. Clinton tried to play it off, but to little effect. This is something sometimes caused by stress or overstimulation. At the end of the Democrat National Convention, I noticed a very odd reaction of Hillary's to all the things happening around her. At the time, I played it off as her attempting to look like a normal person, surprised by all the great things, but after a while, I started to wonder. I mean, where will you be when the acid kicks in? That's what Brandon Morse tweeted back on July 29th. Now, her cognitive illness doesn't stop at seizures and facial tics. In an email from Hillary's right-hand gal, Huma Abedin Wiener, mentioned to staffer Monica Hanley that Hillary is, quote, often confused, close quote. Very important to, let's see, where's the email thread start? Have you been going over calls with her, Mrs. Clinton, for tomorrow, so she knows Singh is in at 8? She was in bed for a nap by the time I heard that she had an 8 a.m. call. We'll go over with her. Very important to do that. She's often confused. And there's more. Mrs. Clinton's oversleeping during important meetings, odd outbursts of anger and abusiveness toward those around her as far back as her time as First Lady. It all amounts to a woman who is likely not all there. Someone who is prone to actions not wholly voluntary. No matter how you paint it, Hillary Clinton has some issues we should be very concerned about, and the media should be looking very closely into her health, which is, of course, why they never will. If she isn't well, then we're going to have a president who will often be missing in action, or worse, make decisions that defy logic and reason. In other words, like Donald Trump would. Pulling our nation into directions we don't want it going. While speculation about Hillary's health is nothing new, the recent uptick in concern is noticeable, especially with all the recent footage of Mrs. Clinton's physical oddities. Paul Joseph Watson of InfoWars, just bear with me, okay, released a video about it as well that covers much of the concerns people are having about Hillary Clinton.
What on earth could be the reason behind Hillary Clinton's bizarre behaviour in recent weeks? weird seizures, psychotic facial tics, over-exaggerated reactions, coughing fits, strange lesions on her tongue. Is Hillary on the verge of a mental breakdown due to stress, or are her strange outbursts linked to a medical condition? Is Clinton suffering from actual brain damage, or are these odd manifestations just an expression of some kind of narcissistic personality disorder? I talked privately with psychologists and psychiatrists to try and answer this question, and here's what they told me. We know Hillary fainted and hit her head back in 2012, leading to a blood clot in her brain. In almost half of sufferers, this leads to side effects and neurological issues. According to neurologist Dr. Daniel Kasiche, Hillary has post-concussion syndrome and cannot tolerate stress-inducing environments. Experts told me that this footage likely shows Hillary having a mild Jacksonian type of seizure caused by a side effect of the blood clot. Notice how shocked the reporter is by her behaviour, and how Hillary tries to turn it into a joke, but then continues having the seizure. Notice how it was triggered by several different people talking to her at once, which is a known cause of seizures. Is this why Hillary refuses to give press conferences? We see similar traits in this footage: the crazy eye movements, the overreaction to external stimuli, the weird elongated bathroom break in the middle of a televised debate, which insiders said was a flare-up of problems from her brain injury.
And do we believe Secretary Clinton will be coming around the corner any minute?
Reports that she can barely stand up after giving a speech. The coughing fits, which is yet another side effect of strokes. Difficulty swallowing, choking, a garbled voice, again all side effects of strokes. Guess what else is a side effect of strokes? Spontaneous outbursts of laughter that go on for longer than is socially comfortable.
I know Bernie Sanders said that, quote, the American people are sick and tired of hearing about your damn emails. But there are a lot of people who are not.
Well.
Including FBI officials.
Some aspects of Hillary's freakish behaviour could be explained by the blood clot, but others could be a manifestation of her notoriously unstable personality and even drug abuse. Her sudden, profound and disproportionate bouts of rage, confirmed by former Secret Service agents, former K9 handlers, and her own campaign insiders. An anonymous campaign aide told the New York Post that Hillary unleashed, quote, screaming childlike tantrums that have left staff members in tears and unable to work.
Byrne paints a disturbing picture of what he claims Hillary is like behind the scenes.
When something goes wrong, she seems to go right off the scale. Instead of trying to fix what the problem is, she goes right to anger and berates who she holds responsible for it.
Byrne told me that as First Lady, Hillary actually hit a Secret Service agent in the back of the head with a Bible.
She became angry about something. She had a Bible in her hand. She didn't actually throw it at him. As he described it to me, she leaned forward and kind of punched him hit him in the head with it.
He says the Clinton White House was like a battlefield, and the president showed up one morning with a black eye to prove it.
They even said they had to give her, quote, chill pills to calm her down. These outbursts are likely linked to years of persistent drug abuse. Her susceptibility to rage whenever she's challenged would also explain the complete dearth of press conferences and why her campaign builds human walls to keep reporters away. Hillary is also likely on the autism spectrum. She has virtually no empathy for other people. One expert told me that Hillary has high-functioning autism with attendant sociopathy.
We came, we saw, he died.
This would explain the exaggerated expressions. They're to compensate for what psychiatrists call emotional illiteracy. Could this be why her efforts to connect with people seem so forced, so insincere?
I'm just chilling in Cedar Rapids.
There's even speculation that she could have contracted syphilis from sex addict Bill Clinton, which may explain the apparent lesion on her tongue. Then you have the memory lapses. Huma Abedin saying Hillary is, quote, often confused. The pathological lies about being under Bosnian sniper fire, the lies about her email scandal. All signs of cognitive impairment, personality disorder, or both. All this, while the Clinton campaign claims her only issues are allergies and hyperthyroidism. Hillary could be mentally incapacitated and incapable of handling stress, even before she takes on the most stressful job in the world. Barack Obama claims Donald Trump is unfit to be president because of his rhetoric. But is Hillary Clinton physically unfit to be president?
Now, Democrats, understandably, are running scared amid this new Hillary Clinton health scare story. I mean, because as we know, as I've already said and explained, the more visible Hillary Clinton is, the more unpopular she gets. And this is definitely something she doesn't want a whole lot of attention on. The idea that she might not be physically up to the job of being president of the United States, because we've seen, for decades, we've seen the toll, how presidents age in office, beyond just the 4 or 8 years. So we've seen that, and is Hillary up to the job? Well, that'd definitely be one of her vulnerabilities. Now, over the weekend, one trending topic was Hillary Clinton's precarious health. It was fueled by this DrudgeReport.com featured story, and it shows, here's the headline: Hillary Clinton conquers the stairs. And it's a picture of her literally being helped up the stairs. You know the jokes about Hillary Clinton coming out on stage with a walker? Hillary Clinton has a walker. Well, kind of like how the way FDR was in a wheelchair, but he never let the media see him in it or photograph him in it. And the media, of course, cooperated. Like when FDR walked down the aisle in the House chamber to deliver his declaration of war speech against Japan on December 8, 1941. And he put the braces on his legs, put the pants on over them, or had pants put on over them, because he did not want to show weakness. Well, this is the same thing with Hillary Clinton, and it's a lot more difficult to do in this day and age where there's cameras everywhere. It's impossible for a public figure like Hillary Clinton not to be photographed every single moment of every single day. Now, this story has the left-wing media in full-throated defense mode because, just like Hillary Clinton's clinical inability to tell the truth, this imagery strikes directly at one of Hillary Clinton's weaknesses. In fact, this image has so unnerved the Democrats that they've had to call on the services of the Washington Post, one of their House media organs and water carriers, to knock down the story. In fact, here's the headline: Armed with junk science and old photos, critics question Hillary's health. This is Dave Weigel who wrote this piece for this piece of propaganda on behalf of Mrs. Clinton for the Washington Post. Quote, at the same time, the Drudge Report, WorldNet Daily, and a small army of would-be Twitter sleuths tried to build the case that the Democrat nominee for president had serious health issues and only they had noticed. Mrs. Clinton's age and health had been subject to parody by some conservative media. Well, conservative, it no longer means what it used to mean. I mean, the only true conservative media left these days is Red State and National Review, but I digress. But the new speculation was completely serious. None of the evidence often shared or sent to reporters, but the hashtag Hillary's health held up. In every case, a Mrs. Clinton moment that had been captured by the media was reinterpreted and wrenched out of context. The highest profile Hillary's health discovery came at the American Mirror, an obscure conservative news site with what it packaged as a scoop, shock photo, but had been aggregated from Twitter. The questionable health of Hillary Clinton should be a major issue of the 2016 campaign. anything wrong with that statement, wrote the site's editor, Kyle Olson. The latest evidence comes in the form of Mrs. Clinton being helped up a set of stairs by multiple individuals outside what appears to be a home. The photos, published by Reuters and Getty, show the 68-year-old candidate with aides holding her arms as she ascends the stairs. Now, Olson shared 2 photos of Mrs. Clinton, shot from behind, being helped as she unsteadily ascended the stairs. So Weigel is acknowledging she wasn't steady. Shouldn't that be a matter of concern? But he left out the context. The photos were from February. Yeah, and it was only 6 months ago. I mean, if it were 6 years ago, he'd have a stronger case. But 6 months ago, that's in this campaign. You know, it's not that long ago. In context, as CNN's Brian Stelter first noticed, Getty Images had published the photos during Mrs. Clinton's South Carolina primary campaign. The photo agency noted in its caption that Mrs. Clinton had been steadied after slipping on the stairs. Well, isn't that a matter of concern? Indeed, for other websites critical of Mrs. Clinton, the stairs photo is just one part of a Hillary's Health mosaic. It gave WorldNet Daily a hook to resurrect a July 21st video posted on YouTube, which shows Mrs. Clinton's head suddenly turning and shaking vigorously for several seconds, the video that I shared with you earlier. That video, titled "Hillary Clinton Has Seizure and Convulsions," tries to play it off making fun of seizures, was also robbed of its context. 2 clips of Mrs. Clinton bobbing her head had been looped and slowed down as ominous music and voiceovers played behind them, a combination that helped the clip score 1.4 million views. The clip wasn't from July 21st, and as the scrum of media should have indicated, it wasn't rescued from pro-Clinton censors. It was from June 10th, when Mrs. Clinton, fresh off a series of wins that effectively locked up the Democrat nomination, held a few events ahead of the District of Columbia's primary. Okay, so instead of being 2.5 weeks ago, it was a couple months ago. Again, that's really not a significant difference. You know? I mean, methinks that Mr. Weigel doth protest too much and not too competently. Beat reporters followed Mrs. Clinton to a coffee shop in the Shaw neighborhood. CNN's Dan Marica, to her left, asked her about the breaking news of Barack Obama's official endorsement. Then, to her right, the Associated Press's Lisa Lehrer asked a question about Elizabeth Warren, whom Mrs. Clinton had met with as vice presidential speculation swirled. Close quote. And Weigel goes on to make fun of people who tried to diagnose Hillary's medical condition via the internet. Now, what is really incredible is this assertion of Mr. Weigel in the WAPO. Quote, "The reporters who had covered Mrs. Clinton for a year interpreted her exaggerated head bobbing as a joke at how she had been suddenly surrounded and as a successful attempt at ending the scrum. It did not occur to them that it would become seen as evidence of a seizure, as people suffering from seizures do not typically laugh and continue to hold cups of coffee." Close quote. Wherein Dave Weigel exposed his ignorance of seizures for all to see in pixels and print. So, reporters who have become inured to Mrs. Clinton's innate Asperger-like weirdness didn't think there was anything strange about her behavior. Their failure to remark on it is more easily explained by the fact that her press pool is composed of left-wing Democrat women who would be very unlikely to report anything negative about their saggy, fat-assed goddess. And getting used to weird behavior doesn't mean the behavior isn't weird. It only means you've gotten used to it. The article also proclaims that people suffering from seizures do not typically laugh and hold continue to hold cups of coffee. Now, I don't even know what this means, as there is a wide spectrum of symptoms for seizures. The Epilepsy Foundation lists 15 types that are associated with that affliction, and some of those would actually cause a person to laugh spontaneously while simultaneously holding a cup of coffee. Now, and understand, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not saying that Hillary Clinton has epilepsy, only that seizures come with a wide variety of manifestations, some of which aren't even perceivable by a casual observer, like Dave Weigel. Now let's look at this objectively. Hillary Clinton's poor health has been known for a while. And acting like this was created from whole cloth, a normally responsible Dave Weigel takes a side trip into deception. Hillary Clinton has a history of falling on her fat ass. In 2009, she fell and broke her elbow. In 2011, she fell while boarding an aircraft, and not under sniper fire either. In 2012, she fell at home and bounced off the floor and furniture hard enough to get a blood clot. Last year, Red State had a post on this subject, quote, "We know that Hillary Clinton has suffered from fainting spells since at least 2005, which is over 10 years ago. In that year, she passed out, presumably sober, while giving a speech. In 2012, she passed out yet again and suffered a concussion. Radar Online has reported that sources close to Hillary Clinton say she has suffered minor strokes and may have multiple sclerosis. The book on Hillary by Ed Klein says that she suffers from depression and migraine headaches." Close quote. In Hillary Clinton's emails, we have lots of direct evidence that she is physically not up to the job of being president, as we discussed earlier. But one additional note on that email example about she's often confused. Check the date and timestamp on the email. It's 4:59 in the afternoon, and Hillary Clinton was taking a nap. Remember back when Ronald Reagan was running for re-election in 1984? And one of the jokes about Reagan from the left was, "Oh, well, Ronnie's taking a nap while the world could be going up in nuclear flames!" Well, how's this any different? And in this case, it's actually true. Mrs. Clinton. I mean, we know that she overslept a 10 a.m. briefing on Benghazi. So much for the 3 a.m. phone calls. Now, in all fairness, the image was apparently taken back in February again, and the story gives the impression that it's current. Likewise, the video clips are from June. Now, having said that, again, on the other side of the ledger is the fact that the picture is only 6 months old. And it's factual. It wasn't photoshopped. It's not fake. And the video is not doctored. In neither case could the imagery be called old in any recognizable use of the word. Both come from the current campaign season. When you watch Hillary Clinton, there is no doubt what you were looking at. A doddering old crone. She is overweight, and given her advanced age and sedentary lifestyle throughout her life, it would be little short of miraculous if she were not hypertensive. And trust me, folks, I know something about hypertension. That's high blood pressure for those of you in Malaga, Washington. In fact, the very fact that her official medical record does not indicate even borderline hypertension is a major red flag for calling its accuracy and completeness into question. The image shown on Drudge doesn't show a woman being helped to her feet. It shows Hillary and her rather substantial posterior being hauled up the steps. Hillary Clinton has released, quote-unquote, her medical records, but considering the North Korea level of secrecy inside Hillary's campaign, there is little reason to trust those records as accurate, any more than the emails that she chose to release. Hillary Clinton has proven that she will cheerfully lie to the American public about anything. Like Benghazi was caused by a video, and I didn't send or receive classified material on my hillbilly server. She'll lie about anything that she perceives as damaging, or she'll just lie about anything just for the hell of it, just for the sake of lying. That's what she does. It's like that line from Suicide Squad. You know, Harley Quinn says, "We're bad guys. It's what we do." Yeah, same thing for Hillary Clinton. We're liars. It's what we do. On the positive side, if Hillary Clinton does drop dead, it will prevent the country from having to suffer her nagging, hectoring presence for 4 long years, and Tim Kaine seems unlikely to do a lot of collateral damage to the Republic. Now, that, of course, is if Hillary Clinton were to suffer a massive stroke or a heart attack or just simply drop dead after the election. If it happens before the election, we may be in even greater peril.